Yo, 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 what up, what up, what up? Yo, this is your boy, Baba Moon Ikram. Okay, Beautiful Black Boy Bliss. Okay, check me out at Beautiful Black Boy Bliss on IG, on Instagram. And I'm coming to you all today with a short message, not to be long, but I just want to share with you, particularly those of you who are HBCU students. I don't know if you saw in the news just recently, the CIAA conference was now moved to beautiful Baltimore City. It's no longer in Charlotte, North Carolina. Shout out to Charlotte, North Carolina, though. Shout out to the whole state of North Carolina, which is also, in my humble opinion, another. So Howard is the mecca of black education. I would call North Carolina the Medina of black education because that's the state where you have the highest number of HBCUs. For those of you not familiar with that term, that's historically black colleges or universities, as opposed to what maybe your average state school around the corner, predominantly white institution. And so it's not that they're excluding people from the school, but just letting you know that if you select the school for the education, it's going to be an education tutored, or excuse me, not tutored, but tailored to somebody who is of the tailored to somebody who has had an African American experience in America. And believe it or not, other people can learn from that if you come there with a sincere heart and you come correct and you really submit yourself to the knowledge like you would in another school at another PWI, because that's really what we're submitting to, this knowledge. So just understand that it's a school where the knowledge of the black experience should be taught and is being taught. But I digress. I say all that to say this. So the CIAA conference, largest historically black college university basketball tournament, is now going to be in Baltimore City, and it really makes us feel good as HBCU graduates. But I'm also HBCU grad. Should have mentioned that before. Howard University, class 2011. Also, right now, currently attend Bowie State University in Bowie, Maryland, getting a master's degree in the study of English. But I digress. But just to build that credibility with you before we continue, I just want to put this bug in your ear, those of you who are studying at the HBCU level. I want you to understand that the purpose of your education, the purpose of your education is just that, to get an education so that you can cultivate yourself and civilize yourself, and that way you can attain yourself and get back what you've lost or what you've been disconnected from by virtue of your human experience. Okay, particularly those of you who are of the African American, black, Asiatic, original descent, that you can get back what you've lost. That's the purpose of education. Well, you may be saying, I thought the purpose of education was I graduate and I get a job. You know what I'm saying? Start my career. You know what I mean? Get out there and do it. I mean, that's what they tell us, right? I got to do this to be successful. So a lot of times, sisters, especially now in the society where we are now, doors have been open for sisters and women in general where they can go out and work and earn a living, and they don't have to depend on a volatile relationship or a relationship that they're not really so keen to be in. They can go out and do things now they have an education. But and the same is true for the men. You can go out there and get an education, increase your earning potential, and allow yourself to become an equivalent to be able to be coupled with a lot of these women, a lot of these sisters that are graduating. So, but the reason why you don't see a lot of brothers getting up in the university classroom is because there is very little practicality that we see as far as like the knowledge that we're learning there. It's not like it used to be. When we go back and revisit the history of these schools, number one, they were places of intense study, particularly within the humanities and within the sciences. Okay, you look at Tuskegee and what happened at Tuskegee. Tuskegee, founded by Booker T. Washington. Shout out Booker T. Washington. Check out the book Up From Slavery, where he details his life. And when in detailing his life, he's talking about the establishment of Tuskegee. But if you ever go down there and view that campus in Alabama, it's beautiful. And it's a lot of pride there. Why? Because they built the school. What do you mean they built the school? Yeah, the students built the school of Tuskegee. Now think about that for a second. I want that to resonate with you. Right now, 2019, if a brick wall was to fall down at your school, how many of you are watching this will feel you're qualified to go out there and fix it? Okay? Let's keep it a buck. Let's say even something rudimentary. The bedpost on your bed breaks. Whatever activities you're doing. I don't know what you're doing, having pajama parties and stuff in your school. But let's say the bedpost or the leg that holds up your bed breaks. Okay, now you out at IKEA going to go buy another bed. Now, how come you didn't have the knowledge to fix that leg? Well, I didn't go to school to learn a trade. I came here to get my education. Good. Good. I'm proud of you. It seems like we're making progress. But what does that actually mean, that you came here to get your education? Think about that for a moment, especially those of you who are a part of the HBCU legacy. Because in what I've just said before about Booker T. Washington at Tuskegee and students who built that school who were just out of slavery, they were able to build that. Think about that for a moment. Because when slavery was abolished, oh man, the sun is out. But when slavery was abolished, everybody that came out of slavery had job skills. They were job ready. They were capable of being employed. Why? Because in slavery there was damn near 100% employment in the black community. We just weren't getting paid from it, but we had the know-how. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. We didn't go to college after slavery to get job skills. Okay, that was something that we had just by virtue of the cruel institution of slavery, because we were out there in the fields. We knew how to grow stuff. We were out there in the bellows, making metal work, doing metal work, blacksmithing. Okay, we were out there nursing the animals and the animal husbandry. Okay, we was out there driving the carriage, making the horseshoes and all that. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Those are tangible things that we used to know, but we don't know anymore. Okay, we don't know that anymore. And some of us maybe need to start thinking about getting some of these skills if we don't have them, because if we're going to preserve this legacy of the HBCU tradition, we're going to have to know that we came from people who had this technical know-how. They were smart people, but they recognized the value in education. The value of the education was to not necessarily create distance between those two paths, but to be able to have wisdom to exploit the full use of those skills. Okay, and that's where you really get serious. That's where you really get serious, not only as a scholar, but as a doer and a scholar. Okay, this is something that we're missing. So when you go to the university, get your education, man. And when I mean get your education, get your literacy on. That's what it's about. Learning how to read, not just reading things to pass the time, but that's good too. Study story, study the structure of story, study what's happening in the story. Then you'll be able to decipher reality. But get your literacy on in those classes, man. A lot of times we see kids up in school, they're not really reading anymore. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. I mean, we all are, but we have to balance it with actual, you know what I'm saying, real daggone books, okay? Commit that to your mind, that you're going to go in those classes and read to the best of your ability and study. And in studying and reading, okay, learning language, learning what meaning is, learning how to use the dictionary, both the digital and the big dictionary. Like, check it out, right? Pete, real quick, stay with me. Like, I have this. Like, this is my unabridged dictionary that I rock with a lot of times when I'm home just studying. And I also have this, an iPad mini. iPad mini also will allow me to look things up. Sometimes the iPad mini is more beneficial, and sometimes a good old tangible dictionary is more beneficial. But you must learn how to use these things, especially if you're part of this HBCU tradition, to be a part of the scholarship. And it's not just necessarily reading stories, just saying, oh, I've read Geoffrey Chaucer and the Canterbury Tales, and I've read Beowulf. And not to be able to do that, although that's good. It's a step up from where a lot of us are in terms of communication and language use. But not just for that, but to be able to recognize the personalities that were highlighted in the Canterbury Tales. Do we see anybody like that in our society? Being able to recognize what Beowulf was. Look at the symbol. The Grendel, the monster terrorizing the town. Well, what's the monster in your life that you're afraid of? Are you going to be the hero in your story and slay the monster? This level of reading that we have to be in. And these aren't even black cats. These are stories that come out of England. You know what I'm saying? And we also have stuff, in our culture too. My other bookshelf, my black books are in the other room. But while we're on it, hold up real quick. Do I have it in here? Nah. But I mean, books like, you know what I'm saying, Kane, Gene Toomer, okay? Kicked off the Harlem Renaissance. We need to know about the stuff coming out of HBCUs. We're forgetting this stuff because we're not going there and learning. It's like going to the grocery store, buying your groceries, got a dope-ass recipe that you got off the internet that you get ready to go home and cook. Then when you get home and go pop the trunk of your car, you realize, oh, crap, I was so excited about what I was doing, I forgot my daggone groceries in the store. Now you sitting home hungry. Now you got to go back and debate and go back and forth. They got to pull the security camera and show that, oh yeah, I guess you did buy those groceries, okay? But this is where we at now as a society. This is where we are. And I'm just trying to, I don't have all the answers, but I do know that it begins with literacy in the colleges. It begins with literacy in the high school. It begins with literacy, middle school, elementary school, okay? But it really is rooted in the home. We have to begin to take reading seriously and literacy serious within our homes. Begin to tell these stories to our children, because a lot of times, right? A lot of times with stories are more effective in communicating a lesson. Because why? Nobody wants somebody to tell them what to do. Okay? Let's keep it real. Nobody wants somebody to tell them what to do. But you get finished telling somebody what to do and they don't agree with you, they start to relax. Okay. All right, now that I got that off my chest. And they're like, I'm bored. And so you to have the story, you say, well, let me tell you a story. All right, fine, I'll hear the story. And you can do what Aesop did in Aesop's Fables and put lessons in the... I'm going to let you look that up and put lessons in the stories in order to teach the king, because he knew the king had an ego. And if he told the king what to do, even though Aesop knew he was more wiser than the king, he would have to put it in the story so that way the king would see the lesson. Whew. Aesop was also a black man. So just a little historical fact I had to drop on y'all. But this video is already too long. Maybe you watch it in between your classes. Maybe you watch it while you're at the bus stop or something. But I don't know what's going on. I mean, about where you're watching it. But hopefully, so what I said took root and took heart. And you'll take what I'm saying to heart. Like I said, I'm just your brother. I'm a teacher. I'm a scholar myself, author. So be on the lookout. Beautiful Black Boy Bliss on IG. Holler at me. Peace.